Hello.
Ooh, Jinx. Hello. Welcome to Honey to Me podcast. I'm Emma.
And I'm Cass, and this is our podcast where we talk about sex, relationships, mental health, doing it. All of those things that are deeply, deeply important and that a lot of us feel a lot of shame around. And we're just here to help dispel that a little bit and have a really good time.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say deeply, deeply personal. I'm like, we do that too.
We do that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm starting to date a little bit more again. And Cass always asks me if I've talked about the podcast yet. And while I love this podcast so much and I'm so proud of it, I'm like, the second they listen to it, they're going to know so much about me that I'm like, maybe I'll wait until I share some of these stories myself, because we do get deeply personal.
Well, because, and you may take this out if you don't want it in, but you have shared quite openly about the podcast quite soon into dating relationships. And then they have listened to the spit roast episode and then reported that back to you. And that's just, we weren't the ones in the spit roast, but it's still... It's still violating.
I think that's important to note, is that we weren't the ones in the spit roast, but it's still a lot. Also, or I start dating them and the first episode they listen to is how to have casual sex without any guilt. And I'm just like, oh, I get where you're going with this now.
And turned out he did want casual sex without guilt.
Yep. So I think to protect everyone's feelings,
primarily yours,
I'm just gonna wait a minute.
Yeah. So valid. So valid.
Oh, that's not the kind of game I want to play, but there are tons of games I do want to play in this world.
What a transition. What a beautiful, beautiful transition.
Thank you.
We're talking about games you can play in the bedroom today, which is so much fun. I think why this topic is so important to me personally is because we think about sex as if it is supposed to be this done in this really particular way. And I think we tend to take it very seriously. And obviously it's serious because you're vulnerable and all of that. But we forget that it is supposed to be an opportunity to play and have fun and explore and be really messy. And I think sex games are the perfect way to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Sex is supposed to be fun and playful. And so often as adults, we rule out opportunities to be playful and think that everything we do has to be taken so seriously to be considered an adult and sexy and perfect.
And to be good at it.
And to be good
at it.
I feel like, at least I operate from a perspective of being watched. And I don't know if that's relatable, but where everything I do, I want it to be if someone was watching this, it looks perfectly executed and I'm not looking stupid or being too silly. So I feel like especially in the bedroom, we rule out opportunities to be a little bit messy, mess up, be playful, because we're afraid of what we look like. And that's just not fun.
Yeah. We have an episode, it's episode 104, I think, with Lisa Welsh, talking about how to make sex more fun and playful. And something we talk about in that episode is how, as kids, it's so easy for us to play and to know what it is that we want to do. And then that's just kind of strategically beaten out of us over the course of our growing years. And it's just so important to get back to that. And then this is an opportunity to make it sexy.
This is an opportunity to make it sexy. Yes. So playing games is, yes, sexy, fun, playful, but also it's an amazing tool to have in the bedroom. And here's why. So first and foremost, it promotes great communication, mutual understanding, and comprehension. So you guys have to be on the same page, which means you have to talk through what you're about to do. And that's just a tool that we all need to be better at, is talking in the bedroom and talking about what you're about to both embark on and how you're going to have it fun and pleasurable. And so it promotes just talking before trying something new, which I think, like we just said, we all expect to be perfect at something. So we don't often talk about what's about to happen, and then it gets clunky. Then we think we did it wrong. Then we think we failed. But trying games, you have to talk through the rules, babe. That's number one thing.
Number one thing. You can't just dive into Monopoly and raw dog it.
Raw dog it. You'll go straight to jail.
Straight to jail.
With this.
Same here. Yeah, I think even if the game seems a little bit low key and you're like, well, these rules seem pretty easy to talk about, it's like you're still talking about it in the context of sex. So if it feels low key, great. And that's going to help you take
Yeah.
steps to talk about the less low key things, the more vulnerable things. As long as you're talking about it, you're taking steps to where you want to be, which is like maximum pleasure.
Maximum pleasure. Yes, absolutely. It also promotes exploration. Like,
Yeah.
duh, if you're trying a game that tells you to do something a little bit new or different, you're exploring different areas of the bedroom, of play, of being with your partner, because you didn't come up with that game. So you're exploring new things. There's an amazing quote from a Bustle article from Cindy Darnell, a sex and relationships therapist. She tells us to grow passion, couples can make sure their sex life does not become routine. One of the things we know about desire is that it thrives on variety. Neuroscience, while a relatively new field of knowledge, suggests that the brain's capacity to influence libido is great, since the brain controls our capacity for both wanting and liking things. So the more variety you bring into the bedroom, the more like on your toes your brain is going to be, and the more susceptible to being turned on, having desire, having this shared new experience that's sexy and steamy instead of like clunky and awkward and, I don't know, uncomfortable. Like the more likely this is just going to be so much fun.
100%. I have two thoughts on that. One, I feel like that's why we get so addicted to TikTok, because it's like you never know what's around the corner, and it's always new and it's always like interesting. And so apply that to your sex life. Love it. It's so easy, I feel like, to let it get stale and routine. It's just life gets in the way, and you know what feels good, so you go straight for that because you have 10 minutes or whatever it is. You're fucking tired.
Yep.
But yeah, excitement and unpredictability is like, of course we all want that. And I feel like that's part of the honeymoon phase too. You know what I mean? Like you're still exploring each other, so it feels so exciting and new. But it's possible to have that throughout your entire relationship with ups and downs, of course. I don't know what the second thing I was going to say is, but I love that.
Okay. I feel like also later in our relationships, routine feels like the only option for whatever reason. And I don't really know why, but convenience, predictability, routine feels like the only way you can continue to operate, one, through life, and two, through your relationships. But you just buy like a $5 game, or we'll give you tons of free options for games. And all of a sudden you've opened up a completely new world of ways to keep yourself like surprising your partner, or surprising yourself. And that's so fun and easy, but we forget that those are options out there.
I could be totally wrong on this, but I do feel like, you know, once you're pretty deep into a relationship, bringing up a completely random desire or fantasy almost feels scarier because it's like, well, they've known me for this many years and I haven't brought it up. So are they going to think it's so weird that I'm bringing it up now? Are they going to wonder if I've been thinking about it this entire time? It's like, there's a different type of awkward and pressure once you're deep into a relationship to bring up something new and to try something new if you aren't a couple or a person that is actively trying something new a lot of the time.
Totally. Well, that's the next point, is that these games bring emotional connectivity because it does give you an opportunity to talk about things you've never talked about, bring up things that have felt clunky in the past, but maybe you've been thinking about them for a while. It fosters an environment for you guys to really connect and like chat through something that you didn't feel like you could bring up before, or that, you know, it's brought up in a game and you're like, I wouldn't really be comfortable with that because this, and you just get to bounce back and forth with your partner, and that's connection that you didn't have before.
And it's somehow lower pressure because it's like it's somebody else's rules, you know, somebody else is telling you what to do. Blame it on somebody else. It's just like, I don't know, if you say I don't like that, you're not shutting down your partner, or if your partner says I don't like that, they're not shutting you down. It's just in reference to the rules, babe. It's fine.
Reference to the rules. It's a container for what you're about to try. It's, as long as it's consensual, anything goes. Let's put it out there. And like I always say, when containers come up, throw it against the wall, see what sticks.
See what sticks. It's spaghetti.
See what sticks. Spaghetti. One time my dad was visiting and we were making spaghetti. And then I did that. I just threw it at the wall, and he was watching TV, and then he just slowly turns and looks at the wall. He's like, did you just do that?
What kind of gremlin did I raise?
Papa, sorry.
Excuse me, Papa.
Excuse me. Oh, that was my spaghetti.
I have to check my sketty.
Let me go get my sketty. And lastly, obviously, it lightens the fucking mood. wrapping back to what we said in the beginning, sex is supposed to be playful and fun and explorational, and we just need to lighten the fuck up.
Yeah,
Period.
100%. And all of these skills are so important to build, right? We talk about them in
Mm-hmm.
all of our episodes, but that doesn't mean you have to learn them in this very like cold academic way. You can
Yeah.
learn them in this really fun, exciting, sexy way. It's like those resources we've had guests talk about where it's like it's porn and it's sex education, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's like if we have fun doing it, I feel like those skills are just going to get ingrained in a different, lighter, happier way.